So the second Wilderness Rejuvenation blog was released today, and I wanted to talk about it because of the new updates that are coming out into the game with this. I've been following this a lot, and I voted on the previous poll, and I'll talk about that in a sec as I cover all the different rewards. And I'm going to jump straight into what I like and what I dislike about this. So the first one is the Amulet of Peril. They've basically changed it so it no longer gets the dark effect. I think from reading the blog they're going to poll the original option 1 that they released in the last poll, which didn't pass, and then they're going to poll the second option, which just gives it a 25% damage boost when charged in Wilderness against PvP players. Regardless of which amulet that they poll, if they poll option 1, option 2, or they just poll option 2, I'm going to be voting no. I think this basically takes away from the Torture Amulet and the Fury Amulet. Obviously the Torture and Fury Amulet have a place in the game anyway because of PVM and bossing. They're still really useful for that, even if this was added into the game. But this is so unnecessary. I mean, like, combat already has so many spec weapons and all these other ways of like basically boosting as much damage as possible, and if this was added into the game with max combat in strength and so on, it's just a really bad update, and I'm going to be voting no, and I hope that whoever watches this video votes no for the Amulet of Peril as well, because it's just way too overpowered and just really bad. Now the second one that I like is Loot Key Scroll. I voted yes for the original version that they polled in the last poll anyway, because I really like the idea. Obviously I played a lot of Deadman mode, and one of the things I really enjoyed about Deadman mode was the ability to loot the key to someone else's bank. Obviously in this version it will just be the items dropped on the floor, so rather than like looting say for example you killed someone in full barracks and you just like loot the full barracks and whatever else they had on them, you can loot the entire key and you would get like their food and the other stuff as well. I think this is a really nice update, and I even like the compromise better than they did in the last poll, so I'm kind of glad that the Loot Key Scroll didn't pass in the last poll, because now what they're going to do is when you get a Loot Key Scroll from a Revenant, if they do pass, then once you redeem that scroll you'll only get 5 keys in total. Once you get to 5 keys you would have to buy another key scroll to then loot another 5 keys after that, so basically makes getting a Loot Key Scroll from Revenants a pretty good drop, because there will always be someone in the Grand Exchange buying this, so it basically makes sure that Loot Key Scrolls don't become dead content in the future. Now PvP armors, this was the most controversial of all the updates, because there was a lot of people in the PvP community, myself included. I'm not a PvPer, I don't PK whatsoever. The only time I PK is when I like go out to do lava dragons to PVM. At the end of the day, the wilderness is meant to be a dangerous place, and with PvP armors added into the game as they were when Revenant Ks were first released into the game back when God knows when in RuneScape, with the Azorials and Vesta and all that, it was a pretty good update back then, and I think they should definitely bring back PvP armors. And what I seem to have noticed is that the people who were voting no because of the fact that PKs and the PvP community were voting yes to skinning polls that were basically made skinning a lot easier. So they were voting no for PvP armors just to spite the PvP community, and I think that's really crap of them to do. Yeah, I just don't understand why PvP armors weren't added into the game. They're not going to be used for PVM or busting or anything like that. They're just for PvP, and for the people who were voting no as well, so that PvP armors weren't added into the game whilst they're doing PVMing or skinning in the wilderness. I just don't get it. Like, Wilderness is meant to be a dangerous place, and this is a really good update. And it's a good money sink as well. Like, look at the people in the duel arena and how much money is in the game. This would be a fantastic way to get a gold sink into the game, and I think the game needs a lot less money in it than it has at the moment. I mean, old school RuneScape is only 5 years old, and yet there's so much gold in the game. It's really incredible. So if you do vote for PvP armors, please vote yes. Now, let's talk about Revenant Gloves and Ram Braces. They're not polling this again, and I hope they never bring this out into the game again either. Range out of the 3 combat triangles, in my opinion, is the most overpowered. You have the blowpipe, which is so OP, it heals when you use the special attack. It's really fast for DPS. Anyone who does clue scrolls always uses a blowpipe to take out Yuri and all the other mages that pop up when you're doing clue scrolls. And the blowpipe was such an overpowered addition to the game. I like the blowpipe, and I think it should be in the game, but with something like Revenant Gloves, just adding even more range strength, it's just incredible, especially with the new the Zenite jewelry that was released last year with Monkey Madness 2. This is just so bad. And then obviously with the Twisted Bow as well, I mean, range at the moment as it stands does not need any more updates, so I'm glad that they didn't repoll this, and I'm glad it didn't pass in the last poll either. Now let's talk about the Sinister Scroll. I'm going to be voting yes for this, but I can see it being abused in Deep Wilderness. There's already a lot of team PKing clans who use the Ancient Mace special attack to drain prayer instantaneously. So I can see people using the Sinister Amulet to smite people's items in Deep Wilderness. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about PvP armors. I think Wilderness should be as dangerous as possible. I think that with recent additions to the game in the last couple of years, Wilderness has been slightly more safer than normal. So with additions to like the Sinister Amulet, I think Wilderness is going to get a lot more dangerous, as it should be. And basically what the Sinister Scroll does when you add it to Amulet of Glory, it makes a Sinister Amulet, which allows the Smite Prayer to be a lot more effective when damage is dealt than it would be. So I hope this passes. I think this would be a really nice update to the game as well from a PvP standpoint. And with 72% yes when they pulled it back in 2014, I don't see why it wouldn't pass this time. So yeah, it should pass definitely. Now the last two is Ancient Crystals. This is a really OP addition to the game. Basically what it's going to do is in your POH house you can build a Wilderness Obelisk, which will allow you to teleport to any of the 6 locations in the wilderness where the other Wilderness Obelisks are. And if you have the Wilderness Diaries done, then you'll be able to choose which obelisk you want to teleport to. Now it will take 80 construction to build, so not everyone is going to have it, because obviously 80 construction takes a lot of money and time to get to, even though like construction is really fast XP, it is quite a lot of money, and not everyone has that type of money to get to the construction level. So it's basically aimed for high-end players, in my opinion. And I'll be voting yes for Ancient Crystals, because obviously I'm a high-end player with my Vizada account. Not the best account in the world, but it is aimed for more high-end content, and I would like to see this into the game as well, because I have the Wilderness Diaries done, so I'm kind of being selfish with this one, but I wouldn't mind if it didn't pass either, so I'm kind of impartial to it, and I wouldn't be disappointed if it didn't pass in the game. I can see why it wouldn't pass, but I do think this will pass, because a lot of players won't really think of the ways that it could be used in the game to basically abuse mechanics. Especially with the new Chaos Altar, which passed in the last poll with Dragon Bones. With this in the game, you could basically teleport to the obelisk with your POH, run to the altar, get your extra experience on top than you would get using in a normal POH with the guild altar and then teleporting back out. So I can see this being like really OP for prayer training, and then there's so many other things as well. Yeah, I can see this passing, and wouldn't mind it passing. Now, the most controversial, other than the PvP honors, I would say is the minus XP lamp, and this has to pass. I mean, it's been long overdue. So many people have ruined their pure accounts, basically by people either sabotaging it or like little mini mistakes like ranging on long range and then getting that 2 defense prayer. I really hope that the minus XP lamp passes in Revenants, and it's a nice gold sink as well, because whenever you have to use a minus XP lamp, it will cost you 5 million gold coins on top of how much money you had to pay for a minus XP lamp in the first place. So this is really nice for the pure PKing community. It's also really nice for anyone who's ruined their Zerka build or any other build that's PKing. Yeah, I hope that the minus XP lamp really passes, because it is long overdue, as I've said 3 times now, but I can't state enough. This really does need to pass. So people who have ruined pure accounts can you know, basically fix that mistake at the cost of a lot of money. I don't see why anyone would vote no to this. And it obviously can't be abused either. Like someone who hacks someone else's account can't trade over a load of minus XP lamps and then ruin someone else's account, because you can only use 10 lamps per player, meaning a total of 500 XP can be removed from an account. So if someone was to hack my account, which has happened twice this year, and was to use a minus XP lamp on it, then I wouldn't lose much of it. So there's no real way that this could be abused, and out of all the updates, I think this one is the best one that they've brought out with the Revenant Chaos, and I hope this one really passes. And yeah, these are my thoughts on the Wilderness Rejuvenation. And tell me what you think in the comments down below. Which ones are you looking forward to? Which ones are you going to be voting no to? And going back to the Amulet of Peril, out of all these updates, the only thing that I'm going to be voting no to is the Amulet of Peril, for aforementioned reasons. And I hope that you guys vote no for this too. And to my subscribers, I am in the middle of making a video. After I upload this video, I'm going to be returning back to RuneScape and playing my account and getting that video done as soon as possible. And that video should be out in next week, so I won't be uploading for another couple of days. And I thought I'd use this opportunity to update you all on what I'm up to.